Okay, so on the capture card video, I bought one and a Cam Park Extreme action camera. This is a question. And a whole week. For a whole camera, and for a whole week I have bought many mini USB cables and still cannot get the camera to pay or show anything. Letting on show up in add a video capture device in OBS Studio, help please. Okay, so Bazara Media asked that question. So I think that might have been under the he's asked the question under my HDMI video one, but I think it relates to an action camera. So I think you're after my action camera as a webcam video. This HDMI card is for cameras with a HDMI out. Here is an old video, so I linked him to another video to answer that question. What else we got? Okay, first view. Hello, thank you. Great to have the first view and first reply you've got. What else have we got here? Okay, Mr. Shan. Hi, a friend bought this to use it from a PS4 to PC, but he's having issues making it work. Is there any specific instruction needed, or is this an only camera use? Yes, any device with a HDMI out can be used. You can replace the camera with a game console. Here's a full guide. So that is basically, if you have, I showed you everything with a digital camera, photography camera, you could easily replace that with a games console and the same rules apply. So basically it's just a signal that's changing from the HDMI cable. It's not a camera feed, it's a gameplay feed. Hi, can you test it on smartphone Android? It's a UVC device, so it should work. Just need OTG adapter. So, okay, I don't know if that was a question or he's letting me know that it already works. Okay, can you please test if its display and record video and audio to smartphone by using USB camera app? Okay, so yeah, I tested that, which is basically what you just saw. If you're joining late, you can watch in replay. There are chapters, but I showed you how to do that, so I answered that question. I did mention, however, not on Huawei phone, but on Samsung tablet. It worked, but my old tablet was not powerful enough to record at 60 frames a second. So this will depend on the types of phones you have got. So keep that in mind. It didn't work on a Huawei. It worked on a Samsung. So possibly that might be something to keep an eye on. Will this work with my PS4 to iMac so I can play on my iMac rather than recording? I just bought this device and tried out with what you said, but no, you can't do it, only record. That's not entirely correct. Someone else answered that. So we'll go back to Mini and mention that you can watch what you're recording if you use a HDMI splitter. So you can see what's going into each feed, which is one of the options we showed you in Amazon. Again, if you go back a couple of minutes, you'll see the answer to that question. So I'm hoping that helps you. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, is this through a USB to mini HDMI? In this example, it is via USB. If you have a capture card, then you use the HDMI. Here's a complete guide for the latter. So I'm hoping that sorted him out. Thanks, I'm using the Canon 550 and I would rather use the USB to mini HDMI. So then I asked, does that work for you? Because if he wants to use that, does that mean he's telling me that he's tested it and it works? Because I don't think that would work. But I'm sure he came back. I haven't used yet. I need to buy either that cable or capture card. That's where the question came from. So it was a question. He wasn't telling me that it works. He was asking me if it would work, because I think I took that as he is using that. Okay, so you need a capture card to use HDMI. If you use USB, then it needs to be the old EOS tool linked in the video I shared above, which was that link there. You cannot use a USB to HDMI without a capture card. So that I'm hoping sorted out. Okay, yeah, understood. That helps. Thanks. So that I'm hoping if you have those kind of questions, you will find that useful. But yeah, there's a number of things you can do because there's loads of types of cables that can adapt things. So it's good them types of questions are coming through. Let me have a look at what's next. Okay, we've had a recent one. I'll look at that one. So there's some information there. Okay, this might help for the gamers out there. Let me just check we are good. And are we all right on this? Okay, so here's how to get the best visual quality out of this capture card. I've spent a good few hours experimenting to find this out. Thank you, Aman Cars. Okay, so I believe this capture card only outputs a limited reference range, 16 to 235, which means on PC the image will be washed out or darked out, so not getting the best quality. How I fixed it. Oh, you can't see this, can you? Okay. How I fixed it. Put my Xbox 360 reference levels display settings to standard limited. Then in Streamlabs OBS video capture device settings, I set color range equals full. Then add color correction filter to video capture device, gamma 0.07, contrast plus 0.02, and brightness minus 0.01. The gamma was a minus as well. Now the color and brightness will be perfect. Now on your PC monitor, the video capture card shows black equals 0 and white equals 255. No longer washed out, 16235 range, now full 0255 range. You can test if you wish by going to your game in video calibration settings for brightness and take a screenshot and import to Photoshop the blacks RGB 0 and the whites RGB 225. That is actually some great advice just to make sure that the colors are bang on for your games. So thank you for sharing that. I did all the steps you said, but when I click USB video, it's just a black screen. It doesn't show me what's on my camera. Can you help me please? Do I need to configure settings on the camera? I have a Canon T6i and I'm trying to connect to Streamlabs OBS for Twitch. It works with my Sony camera but not on my Canon. Help please. Okay, so this is a common one. If you've set it all up and in the drop down in OBS your screen's black, all you do is reselect the camera. So click on the drop down, it'll drop down, you'll see the Canon EOS webcam tool, just select it again and you'll hear your camera shutter release and it'll actually work, because sometimes it just shows a black screen but it just needs to be reinitiated, or even close OBS and open OBS again. One of those things will help solve that. Do you think it would work for Nintendo Switch? You guys know I'm not big on gaming consoles, so I asked you to see if that is right. If you're in chat, make sure to say hi. If you have a question, drop it in chat and I'll try and get to it. It is a live stream, so I'm just going through the common questions that we've had as part of making your photography camera a live stream camera. So hi everybody in chat. Okay, so do you think it would work for Nintendo Switch? I asked, does it have a HDMI out? He says, I believe yes. Then I said, yes, it does. So anything with the HDMI out will allow you to make, where's my capture card gone? I had it here a minute ago. That's fun about being live. You put stuff down and it just goes missing. Yes, so if you have any type of device, you can use the HDMI feature as part of recording it. So we're talking about the photography side of stuff because you're using photography camera for live streaming. However, you could easily make that a games console if you had a HDMI out, whether that's a Xbox or a PS4 or Nintendo Switch, like the chap was asking here. Tomato Tom asked that. Remember Tangy Tom's, the crisps? Reminds me of them. Okay, so that was Tangy Tom sorted out. He's not called Tangy Tom, but I'm calling him Tomato Tom. Okay, can I do live stream through my iPhone using this capture card? And then I linked him to the video because earlier on we answered that question and I showed you the video of how to record on your Android device. But he's got did you say an iPhone? Okay, you might be challenged with an iPhone, but there are similar recording softwares. I might test that out. That's a good one actually. We'll have to test that out. I'll make another video for that. Okay, I just want to stream PubG mobile using this product. Can I do it? Someone else is coming. You can Minecraft, so he must know his stuff. Minecraft guys know their stuff normally. You can if you buy a lightning to HDMI connector, but that can be quite pricey. Is it pricey? Let's find out. Lightning to HDMI, how much will that cost? What is pricey? Let's have a look. If I do Amazon, hopefully you can see this on screen. No, you can't. Let me drag that down. There, you can see that now, hopefully. Okay, so how much is a lightning to HDMI? 20 quid? 44, 35. Yeah, it depends on what your budget is. but there's a few options there. Interesting mention. Again, that's the playlist that we're looking at with all the questions that were asked. Okay, I think the link I gave above would help you, which is basically explaining it on the phone. Thank you, and that was sorted. So okay, really helpful video. Thank you. Can you link where you bought the female HDMI to male mini HDMI online? And I've given you the links. Jaron, hopefully that sorted you out. And okay, so I am using a Sony Nex 5 camera and I'm unable to use it as a webcam for Skype or Zoom video calls. Will the capture card method work for my camera? Please suggest. If it has an HDMI out, then yes, it will. I don't have that camera, so I wasn't sure. You could easily search Google for that model of camera, which I'll do for you now actually, because we're trying to help you guys set that up. HDMI out. So it's as easy as putting your camera model in and saying, does it have HDMI out? Okay, so someone's done a test on it. So search Google for your phone with that and you'll see the test. Hopefully that sorts you out. But yeah, there's quite a few people covering this off. So I'm hoping that if you don't find the answer on the videos I've done, do a quick search. You'll find someone who has the content. So as long as you get sorted, I don't mind how you get sorted. So you could be watching somebody else's video, but as long as you get to where you want to be. If not, let me know and I'll make another video if I have to. Okay, and can I get clean HDMI out from a Nikon D3000? I don't have a Nikon, but Google says yes, it does. So the Canon D33,000 does have a HDMI clean out signal. Joshua, so I'm hoping that sorted you out. Can you tell me how I can remove the square in the middle? I don't know how. I want to record from the PC screen without recording from the camera itself. I want to record from the PC screen without recording from the camera itself. Okay, I explained in the full setup. I tried it, but you said Canon 60D. I think I said 550D, which is that one, and the 5D Mark II, that one. But 60D has dual pixel. Is it 60 or 70D that has a dual pixel autofocus? Still, I have the annoying middle bar present. The 60D does not have a clean HDMI. You might be able to use the Canon webcam tool. See here. Okay, there's another one here. We'll do these two and then I'll well, there's quite a few actually. Okay, that's fine. Let me show you. Should I show you that setup video? Because it might answer your question. Let's go to that. You'll see the setup video because then this will basically be one point of reference for everyone. So if you have a question in this live stream replay, you'll get the answer for everything because I'm going to put all the videos in here. So let me go to that segment and play you that. One moment, caller. I'll place you on hold. Questions. So there seems to be a common type of question that's being asked. People are trying to use their camera, but I think they're not sure about let me just check this out for you. Yeah, I think they're not sure about the camera and the lead outs. So for example here, Melody, my camera has a mini USB-B port. I could get an adapter. So people are trying to adapt what their camera out is to try and get HDMI. That's a tricky one. So I got a bit confused. So I went back saying, I'm confused. Your camera only has a mini USB out. It does not have a mini HDMI out. If this is the case, you can't use the capture card because this capture card is designed to use the HDMI out to be a USB into your PC. So long story short, we kind of looked at the options and then I says to her, well, if you've got a Canon, try the Canon webcam tool because that works via a mini USB out. So if you're not familiar with the Canon EOS webcam utility tool, that's a great option for this kind of stuff where it's like a small box and if you're doing gameplay. So we sorted Melody out with that question. Okay, this one, it was in Spanish, I think, but I used Google Translate to untranslate it. But he's basically asking about what he needs to do to set up his Canon T6. So I says, well, I've done it. Here's the video for it in Spanish. So, bam. Okay. Oh, nice one here. Lengthy one, it looks like. I am having a Canon EOS 750D camera. I also have the same HDMI video capture card, but I cannot see the video in both the LCD display of the camera and on the desktop monitor. I can only see the video on my desktop monitor only and not on my... Okay, so I think this was a bit interesting because he's trying to do stream for his church, like a live stream for his Facebook group. So I'm thinking, I wasn't sure why he would need to do that, but I'm thinking maybe he's got a really long cable and he wants to be able to stand behind his camera to see on the screen as well as see on a display, like what I'm doing now, because my camera is about 12 feet away and zoomed in and my display is here. So if someone was behind that camera, they wouldn't see the picture behind the screen. So my suggestion was get a HDMI splitter and put a small screen or a monitor with your camera and plug the HDMI out there and the duplicate signal to the computer, which allows you visibility of the screen, like another way around that. So I'm hoping that sorted you out. What else do we have? Okay, so I ordered one of these myself thinking it was needed for my particular camera. I have a Sony A7 II and a A77. It turns out Sonys have their own software which allows you to make it a webcam, while most of the new Sonys and that model that you mentioned does. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame you've had to buy a capture card to find out that you don't need it. However, what you could do is what I do. Use your Sony cam. Well, I don't have a Sony camera, but use your Sony camera as a main view. If you've got a camcorder or any other type of camera with an HDMI out, you can use that as a second angle. So you can have like two angles to make it more interesting live stream. So that's probably an option for you. How are you able to charge the camera and broadcast the image? Every time I plug in the charging cable, the camera shuts down. So what camera is he using? He mentions a Nikon 520. So Canon allows you a camera to be, so Canon cameras allow the camera to be powered via adapter unit. So it basically looks like a little battery. You put it into the camera, it's got a lead, and you plug it into the mains. And my Canon 550, which I'm using at the moment, I've streamed for, you could probably check out the old photography live shows, over an hour, sometimes like 70-80 minutes, and it's not turned off. Imagine it just turns off now. Yeah, so let's have a look. That's that. You can get adapters for units. Is this working for game capture iOS? Any device with a HDMI can be used. Yes. All you do is in iOS you would use a different capture method. I think OBS works in iOS. Yeah, OBS works in iOS, so you could still use OBS. I have a Samsung model number and the same capture card. It shows up, but not my video, my library, but mirrored. Okay, so yes, I show you how the chapters of this complete setup here. So if you look at the complete setup guide, which I link in the description and in the cards, it's like a full 15-minute video where I show you each step by step. So if you watch the whole thing, it would help you. I will check it out, but is there a specific place? So yeah, I said if you look in the last 10 minutes of that video, that will help you. So look in the description, there's chapter stamps, and the last 15 minutes, no, the clip is 15 minutes. Was it? No, is that link I gave you is a 50-minute video. That's the one about using the Canon webcams and everything as webcams. You know what? I might play you a segment now to help you. What I'll do is I'll play you a live desktop so you can actually see me doing stuff. Okay, so that was a quick look at that earlier segment just to cover that off, so answering that question. So I think in the chapters you'll see all of these sections explained anyway, so you should click on the bit you're interested in, because these questions, I think everybody will have these questions, and I've seen some similar questions come up time and time again. So I'm hoping part of this show, it basically explains to you and answers your questions. So we're having a recurring kind of thing where people asking, does this camera work? So I'm having a Canon EOS 4000D camera. I also have the same HDMI video capture, but in not getting the video feed in OBS. I detect the video camera, but it's blank. Please assist, I'm confused. So I linked him to a video which shows how to reselect the camera from the drop down in OBS. Like we mentioned before, if you close OBS down, reopen it, it should re-trigger your camera, providing it's got battery power and it's plugged into the USB. So just make sure the leads are going into your PC, because that can be something. So he watched the video, but he was unable to get his answer question. But yeah, I went back to say, has this been sorted? And he hasn't come back. So I'm assuming that he's been sorted. So basically, if your camera is not showing up in OBS, it's a blank screen, reselect the drop down. We'll answer that. Does HDMI capture card possible for PowerShot? Any suggestions, please? So some people have answered that, but I think Google is going to be the best place to answer these kind of questions, because what we'll do is see if it has HDMI out. So let's do your camera model, HDMI out, because I don't have that PowerShot camera. Connecting PowerShot into the HDMI input as shown. Okay, so the camera does have a HDMI out, so you could use it. So someone else has come back. I am using the same HDMI capture card, and I have a Canon PowerShot with mini HDMI, but not showing as live view for OBS. It only shows playback views. That might be because you have the playback option selected on the camera. Are you able to go to live view on camera so you can see? Because the HDMI is basically going to show you what the camera sees. So if it's in playback mode, it's going to show you playback. Put it into video mode, and that should get you sorted. Again, if you're joining in chat, make sure to comment your questions below or drop it in chat. We're answering them live today, so I can help you get this sorted, like these questions that we've had. Okay, so this is on the full setup video. So in theory, that was a 15-minute video that gave a full breakdown, but still we have questions. So it's interesting about different camera models, and we're covering that today. Okay, so hope you guys can help me with my issue. My capture card only shows quarter of my DSLR screen and OBS screen. What camera are you using? 90D. I've tried with another HDMI cable. Should I try it with another cable? But sometimes what can happen is, it depends how familiar you are with OBS, because with OBS you can shrink the screens. So you might alt click and re-engage the screen to make it full size so you can see the whole entry. If not, download the Canon EOS webcam tool and see if the whole thing shows there. If it does, then the same should apply to the capture card. Okay, so how do you get sound with it? In my test, it did not capture audio. I tested a few cameras and the audio did not feed. You can't see that. Let me see that. So now let me show you how to get audio from your capture card, which is the last segment video, and then I'll go to a few more questions, and that should be everything I've had so far. So we're going to get to, I've got how many more questions? Let me give you an estimate. So we have maybe 10 more questions. So we've gotten through about 15 and I've got 10 more. So once I get through those, that should answer everything that's been raised. So let me show you how to get audio